Hey, Sign-In Socialites, welcome back to Sign-In Social, Unit 2, Lesson 1. So you've survived Unit 1, and you learned about 100 words. In Unit 2, we're going to learn even more words, probably about 100 more. But now we're going to start integrating grammar into those words so that you can sign properly, as they say. But for Lesson 1, we're only going to focus on a whole lot of words, and it's going to basically be the tour of the library. And so if Lesson 1 blew you away with all the words that were in it, don't panic. You have this review video to come back to and refer to. So starting with the library, the first thing we have is the library offers a lot of different services. So you can hold your hand out like this and back and forth, and that's the sign for services. It's like you have a bunch of stuff on your hands that are ready to just be given out. So services. Libraries also have a lot of programs, and so hold your hand up like this and pretend it's a flyer, what have you. And then P for program, you just go down one side and on the other side. So it's like the program is listed on both sides of the flyer. And so program, services, program. The main thing libraries are known for, though, is to give out information. And so to give out information, it's like you have the sign for like, but you can have two hands. Dominant hand on top, one here at the heart, one at the head. It's like you're pulling out everything that you know and feel, and you're giving it out. So information, and that's it. And then last but not least, in order to access all of these things, you have a library card. So you know the sign for library. The sign for card, not as in a playing card, but card like a business card, a library card, driver's license, what have you. It's going to be, you're going to make a little rectangle the size of that card. So card. So you have library, card. So you have services, programs, information, library, card. So let's go into the actual infrastructure of a library, the building itself. And so the sign for building is like this. And that's a sign for like a building that is standing upright and was just built. It is also a sign for the verb building, like to build a building. It's confusing in English too, what can I say? So the first thing we have is door, because you can't go into a library without a door. You hold two hands up like this, and then you just open one up or the other. It doesn't matter. And that's a sign for door, or you can open both doors up if you want to imply that it's a double door and they both open up. And then you have a floor. Take two hands like this, flat, and then you just go horizontally out. So floor, and that is a sign for an actual physical floor in the building, or it can be for levels of the building. So if you want to say the second floor, you just do the number, and you can say, you know, the 8th floor, and it is interchangeable as well as it is in English. So next we have is a window. So take two hands like this, dominant hand on top, and you just open it up like a window. Look out, peek out. Okay, you don't really do that, but so window. And then next we have is a sign. Now sign meaning an actual physical piece of paper that is showing information about a program or services or information, what have you. And so it's the same sign as like fabulous, but you're going to do it with A's, and you're going to right there. So it's like you're tacking up a flyer or a sign, so sign. And then last but not least at all is bathroom. Do a T and back and forth. Older people might use R for restroom and just restroom, kind of like hearing impaired or hard of hearing, but it's going to be restroom. A lot of older people still sign restroom, but most people sign T for toilet, meaning bathroom. So getting into different areas of the library, to sign area, you just have a hand out like this and make a circle, and that's the sign for area, place, location, what have you. So you know the sign for children, and so children's area, teen area, adult area, and that's all there is really for that. And the library is also split into fiction and nonfiction. And so fiction, it's the same sign for false. Just take an index finger across the nose, false. And then for nonfiction, you do the sign for none, and fiction. None meaning there's nothing made up here, fiction. Non-fiction. If I had it my way, I would have just said it's the information section, but it's non-fiction. So fiction, non-fiction. Then within the non-fiction section, or a little bit of fiction too, I guess you could say, there's different topics. The sign for topic, and that's topic, subject, what have you. And the first one we'll go over is science. Take two S's and rock them back and forth. It's like you're a scientist and you have test tubes and you're pouring them into your concoction, because that's what scientists do, I guess. Next one is math. So you take the sign for M, kind of. It's a little bit more relaxed, and put them together. And so just think of it as math, you're crunching numbers. So crunching numbers, math. Next we have is literature. Take your hand like this, take the dominant hand, and these are the eyes, and they're going to go scan down the page. Literature. History has quite a few different signs. Some people do history like they shake it in H, just shake an H. I prefer taking two H's and going backwards, rolling backwards, because you're going backwards in time and studying history. But both of those are completely acceptable. And last we have reading, which is going to be like literature, but instead of going down, they're just going to go back and forth. Reading, and then writing is what you would assume, like pretend you're holding a pen with your dominant hand and write. So that's pretty easy, and those are most of the important topics for libraries. So when you go into the library, you see a librarian, you would probably go up to a desk or a counter, and so the sign for that is like that. And that's a sign for desk, table, counter. It depends on the reference. And so, and then they would be using a pen to write with, and it's the same sign. Writing and pen are exactly the same sign. Pencil, you take the sign for pen, but you lick it first and then you write, because apparently people used to lick their pencils to get it going. I tried it once and it was completely useless, so I don't know why people do that, but to each their own. And then next we have, getting into the internet age, is computers. Take your hand like this and take a C, and you're just going to go across. So just imagine a row of computers sitting at a table, and so computers. And then internet, you're going to take both your middle fingers and kind of rock them back and forth. So internet, like you're making a Wi-Fi connection to exchange information, so internet. And then last but not least is printer. So take a hand like this, and then your dominant hand is going to sign 20 over and over, like that, right on top of it. This is the sign for printer, copy machine, and so it can get a little confusing. I'm hoping that someday ASL will accept a breakdown of each of those to be individual signs, because to ask for the copy machine, the printer, deaf people usually end up having to spell it out to be more specific, because do you want to copy something or print something? It does make a difference, and yet it's the same sign. But here we are. So last but not least, keep saying that, is the different kinds of materials that you can check out. Of course, you can check out a book, and it's just kind of like what you would expect a book to be signed. And then there's magazines. You hold up one hand, dominant hand comes over, and it kind of traces the spine of the magazine, so magazine. And then newspaper, you pretend like you have that newspaper, and you're going to open it up, because newspapers are big. So newspaper, book, magazine, newspaper. But we don't have just print stuff, we have other media that you can check out, and one is DVD, and it's what you'd expect it to be. It's DVD. And then Blu-ray is the sign for blue, and then spell ray, so Blu-ray. And then CD is what you expect it to be, CD. Movie, in general, you hold an S hand, and then your dominant hand goes on top with a 5, and you just rock it back and forth. So think of it as like this is the projector, and then the movie pops up on top, and it's an action movie, and it's going back and forth. So movie. Music, you take a hand out like this. It's kind of like when you see a conductor or someone singing, they're a little bit more expressive. And so dominant hand comes over here and it goes back and forth for music. And that's the sign for music. And so this sign in general for music, but if you want to say like singing with the voice, so you tap to the voice and then singing, so people know, oh, she's using her voice to make music, as opposed to just music in general. And then we have how one can interact with all these materials. Check in and check out is the exact same sign as to give and to take. So give, take, depending on which direction you're going in and which side of the counter you're on. So like when you have a deaf person standing in front of you and you're behind the counter, you would be saying, am I giving you these books? Whereas they would be saying, I am taking these books. So check in and check out, it all depends on the flow of the traffic, if that's clear-ish. So if it's going with them, then sign it towards that person's going with. If it's going away from them to return, then sign it away from that person to return. And then renew, which is a whole lot easier to work with in the brain, is the exact same sign for again. So just again, renew, repeat, it's all the same sign. And then for fine, you hold your hand out like this, and then dominant hand is on top, like you have money that needs to be paid, and you don't know where to pay it just yet, so it's just kind of sitting here anxiously. So that's the sign for a fine. And then to pay a fine, or pay anything, you just take that, and then you put it towards whatever or whomever it is that is getting paid. So pay, fine, and pay. But this same sign for fine, fee, bill, it's all the same sign. And then last but not least, again, I really do mean it this time, this is the last sign for this whole video, is request. And you just take your hand like this and you just pop them up like you're begging someone. So, but you don't have to beg a librarian, we'll request things for you just fine. So request, ask, it's the same sign. And that is it for Unit 2, Lesson 1. Next week we will start diving into grammar in Lesson 2, and until then, sign happy.